I have never seen anything in writing that he went to Washington, D.C. and brought our flag. I have never seen anything of that sort, but if it is available, I'd like to read it, know more about it, but I can't stand on it, that flag. I know that I believe that he didn't have to get permission from anybody to do what he had to do for our people, because Allah Almighty divinely prepared him and sent him here for this purpose. And his coming is just immaculate. Look how many lives he's touched. This is 2019, and he's still touching lives. And he's not even here in the flesh. He's still touching many people that say, oh, what is this? We've talked about our Prophet Noble Ali in many venues. Of course, we know that he is multidimensional in his instructions, and because they are divine. As he said as Miliel said in one of his letters, he says, the Prophet called him to his chambers one night, and when he got there, the Prophet Noble Ali began to speak to him through his mighty Godheads. And that interpretation in itself tells us that he was so spiritual, so well connected to the unseen God, Allah Almighty, that he could speak to him that way. And it's amazing because out of all the people in Chicago, there were noted to be at least 5,000 members. In Detroit, there were noted to be at least 1,500 members in Detroit, amongst the other 15 temples around the country. There was an enormous amount of people that were coming to hear what the Prophet had to say and joining the Moorish Science Temple of America. But it's amazing that when he called someone to his chambers, it was only one person. That was Brother Emil, his Grand Sheik and Chairman. However, when the Prophet came to Chicago in 1925, I have never read or seen anything where he made reference to a Canaanite temple. Now, many more say that it exists, but I can only talk about what I know about, and I don't know about that. I've never read about that. But I do know, according to some literature that we came upon, that he called himself an Egyptian Adept student, is what he called himself. In this newspaper article, he says, I am an Egyptian Adept student. And he talks about his medicine, how he can heal people. And this clip is from Newark, New Jersey, which is where we know he had his first temple at. Again, if the first temple was called the Canaanite temple, I have no reference of that. And if there's someone who have reference of that, I'll be very happy to absorb that. But I have no reference of that. But we do know that our Prophet Noble Ali was in Newark, New Jersey. And he was at, in the address where he lived and worked was on Warren Street. We do have a copy of that house, a picture of that house that we are holding to place in plates, ceramic plates as souvenirs for those who like to have it. So we're holding out on that because we don't want it to get into the hands where they perpetrate that and use it not for a souvenir, but to make themselves more than what they are. That has happened to us, unfortunately, in the past. So, but our Prophet is buried in Burr Oak. His remains are buried in Burr Oak Cemetery in Chicago, Illinois. And he has said to us that don't worship his grave because he's not in there. So there should be a simple headstone on his grave with his name up there. Now, unfortunately, there are those who wanted to put their own headstone on his grave, which we don't believe that is right. They're not in there, so why is their headstone there? And Moorish American Muslims should come together and remove that thing because they're not there. Those people are not in that grave. A headstone is for those people in that grave or for him. That doesn't mean you own the prophet because you put your headstone there and you put your name down there and other people's name that you thought that was relevant. To me, it's blasphemy. And I would want to do that. I wouldn't even want my name on there. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali's headstone. There's another grave there with an elaborate headstone there, and it's called the Reincarnated Prophet headstone. That's a whole different story. I don't know. I don't know if he was born in a tribe or a tribal connection. I have no knowledge of that. Intelligence, again, doesn't mean having the answer as much as it means knowing where to get the answer from. I like to talk about things I can stand on, not the suppositions or innuendos. They're insignificant, and our prophet deserves better than that. I would think so. I can't answer that question because I simply don't know. I know that he is what he told us he was, and that is a Moorish American Muslim, an Egyptian adept student, a healer. I know these things, and I know how his teachings have influenced my life. And I can see the influence on other people's lives and people who got in contact with him, or he contacted him the way they wanted to be contacted. So, allegories. I don't know. I hear there's a song in Chicago that goes like this. The Prophet Drew Ali went to the Washington, D.C. He brought our flag and nationality. Oh, isn't it wonderful now, don't you see? He brought it for you and me. You ever hear that song? So I have never seen anything in writing that he went to Washington, D.C. and brought our flag. I have never seen anything of that sort, but if it is available, I'd like to read it, know more about it, but I can't stand on it, that flag. I know that I believe that he didn't have to get permission from anybody to do what he had to do for our people, because Allah Almighty divinely prepared him and sent him here for this purpose. And his coming is just immaculate. Look how many lives he's touched. This is 2019, and he's still touching lives. And he's not even here in the flesh. He's still touching many people that say, oh, what is this? And many of us have a testimony about how the prophet touched our lives. That's incredible. It's really incredible. Some of my European associates I knew, what's this about you, Emmanuel? You didn't used to be that way. I said, well, I didn't know. Now that I know who I am, I took advantage of the opportunity to proclaim that. So whatever you knew me about what I was before has changed. I changed, and I made a correction in my life. And you should change too. It's what I tell my European friends, because you're not white. And stop telling people you're white. Go to your dinner table tonight and have a conversation with your people. And if whatever nationality that you are, tell them who you are. And tell all the rest of your people who you are. And tell the people you meet who look like you to stop calling yourselves white. It's wrong. Correct yourself. We are correcting ourselves and going back to our free national name. You should too. And if you left Christianity, you need to go back to it, because it was prepared by your forefathers for your earthly salvation. Get to getting. I said get to getting.